2026 is genuinely one of the best years cozy games have ever had on Nintendo hardware. Whether you're rocking the original Switch or just picked up a Switch 2, there's something cozy dropping almost every single month. Today, we're counting down 30 games you need to have on your radar. Let's go. So picture Stardew Valley, but someone in town is a serial killer. That's Grave Seasons. You're an escaped convict trying to start fresh in the small town of Ashenridge, so you do what anyone does. You plant crops, go fishing, mine materials, and try to make friends. Except the town has a problem. People keep dying. Someone among the residents is a supernatural killer, and it's up to you to figure out who before they wipe the whole village out. The farming loop runs exactly how you'd expect. Harvest crops, sell them, build a life. But the clue gathering and investigation layer runs alongside it constantly. You can craft protective items to try to save potential victims, and if you fail, the story actually shifts. Different characters might die depending on your choices, which means playthroughs can feel meaningfully different. Developed by Perfect Garbage and published by Blumhouse Games, it lands August 14th, 2026. Waxheads puts you behind the counter of Repeater Records, a once legendary vinyl shop that's struggling to survive. You're the new employee, and your job is to help customers find the right record. Sounds simple, but the fun is in how you do it. Customers describe their mood, their vibe, their weird music opinions, and you have to read between the lines to match them with the right LP, from a library of over 80 hand-drawn records. It's got a comic book art style that pops off the screen, and the cast of regulars, from music obsessives to chaos agents, makes every shift feel different. Beyond the customer matching, there are puzzles to solve, gig posters to design, and even lights to run for local bands. The whole thing is built around an uplifting story about keeping a community music scene alive. The original soundtrack features over 30 songs made by the two-person dev team. Out May 5th, 2026. Dockside of the Moon. You're Doug, a duck. You were on a space mission and it went badly wrong. So now you've crash-landed on a tiny planetoid in a galaxy full of weird little worlds. The rocks here are alive. They're disco-loving creatures called geodes, and their party just got ruined, right around the same time your ship did. So your goal is to help them get their groove back, while also fixing your spaceship enough to get home. You mine materials, craft gadgets, deliver mail, explore colorful mini-planets, and slowly upgrade your ship into something that actually feels like a home. There's no pressure, no combat, no timer, just exploration at your own pace across a whimsical galaxy. You can also dress Doug in silly outfits, which is honestly enough reason on its own. Developed by Dutch indie studio Starbrew Games, out May 7th, 2026. Lost Twins 2 is a puzzle adventure game about two siblings, Abby and Ben, who are separated and need your help getting back to each other. The twist is how you play. You slide, swap, and shift entire sections of the world like puzzle tiles to carve paths for them through hand-drawn environments. No enemies, no time limits, no stress. Just thoughtful tile-sliding puzzles that get progressively more clever as you go. It supports solo play and local co-op, so you can play one character each with a friend. The art has this warm, illustrated storybook quality to it, and the game is built to be accessible for any age. Developer Playdo built it as a peaceful puzzle experience, and it shows. If you've got kids who like puzzles, or you just want something calm and brain-tickling, this one's a great pick. Sally is a cozy life sim set aboard a giant flying ship drifting through the skies. You play as the ship's newest resident, and the whole game revolves around building a life, up in the clouds, farming on deck, cooking, crafting, and building genuine friendships with the colorful community living alongside you. It's really a game about belonging and finding your place when you're unmoored from everything familiar. The flying ship setting gives it a really different energy from your typical farm in a valley setup. Every direction you look, there's sky and clouds and possibility. You explore, grow things, help your neighbors, and slowly make the ship feel like home. It's developed by Lucid Tales, a small indie team who kickstarted the project with a heartfelt pitch about community and connection. Release is set for 2026. Beastro is a cooking and strategy sim where you play as Panko, a young chef running a restaurant in a village that's under constant threat from the world beyond its walls. Your cooking isn't just for hungry customers. The meals you prepare directly fuel the caretakers, adventurers who venture out and fight back against whatever's lurking in the wilderness, using a deck-based battle system. So, you're managing a restaurant during the day and essentially equipping an army through your menu. The better you cook, the better your caretakers perform. It's a really interesting loop where the kitchen and the battlefield are connected, and the stakes feel real even though everything has a warm, cozy visual style. It mixes cooking management with light strategy in a way that feels fresh in the genre. Release window is 2026. In Hela, you're a small mouse on a big mission, A witch in your village has fallen ill, and as her familiar, it falls on you to explore the surrounding wilderness. Dense forests, mountain paths, shimmering lakes, gathering what she needs to recover. The world is built with a Scandinavian aesthetic, using painterly textures and soft lighting that makes it look genuinely stunning for an indie title. Puzzles are woven naturally into the landscape, rather than being dropped in as obstacles, and you solve them through exploration and interaction with the environment and local wildlife. There's no combat. The whole experience is built around kindness, discovery, and cooperation. You can play solo using a shade system that lets you summon magical echoes for co-op puzzles, or bring a friend in co-op. It won Most Wholesome Game at Gamescom, coming 2026 exclusively to Switch. 2. On the Nintendo side, The Witch's Bakery follows Lun, a witch who runs a small bakery in Paris and has a pretty extraordinary gift. She can see and heal people's emotions. So every day involves baking, meeting customers, and then literally diving into someone's emotional world to help them work through whatever they're carrying. The art style is a warm cartoon that draws comparisons to Studio Ghibli, and the Paris setting gets explored across different times of day, unlocking new areas and characters as the hours shift. You travel the city, meet dozens of different people, and help your new friends in ways that go beyond just making pastries. It's developed by Sunny Lab, and the whole thing has this wonderfully gentle feel, the kind of game that makes you feel like the world is fundamentally a fixable place. Coming Q2 2026. After years of waiting, Professor Layton is finally back. Set 1 year after the events of the Unwound future, this new adventure moves the action to Steam Bison, an American city where steam-powered technology has created a world even more advanced than Victorian London. A mysterious incident pulls Layton and his apprentice Luke, now living in the US and known locally as Detective Luke, into a new investigation. The puzzle design has been handed to QuizKnock, a Japanese quiz group, and there are reportedly more puzzles in this entry than any previous game. The steampunk American setting looks fresh and full of personality. 2 new characters in the Allenston twins are set to play a big role, and the soundtrack is composed by Joe Hisaishi. This is the first Layton on PS5 and PC as well, but for handheld players, Switch is still the definitive way to experience this series. Arriving late 2026. Out of Words is a co-op adventure built entirely from stop-motion animation. Every character, environment, and object you see was crafted and filmed by hand. And it gives the game this genuinely rare, tactile quality you don't see in games. You and a friend play as Kurt and Carla, 2 kids without voices, exploring a wild, colorful world called Vocabulantis, trying to find their lost voices and save it. The game was created from the mind of acclaimed poet Morten Sundergaard, alongside studios Kong Orange and Wiredfly, and that poetic sensibility runs through the whole thing. The storytelling is emotional and visual, rather than text-heavy. You solve physics-based puzzles in ancient catacombs and perform co-op stunts across clay cityscapes. The stop-motion style alone makes it worth watching. Co-op only, so bring a friend. Coming 2026 to Switch 2. Loftia is a free-to-play, cozy MMO set in a Solarpunk world. Imagine a future where humanity figured out how to live in harmony with nature, and then built a beautiful, sky-based civilization around it. You settle into this world, build your home, explore different districts, forage resources, craft items, grow crops in flower pots, and build friendships with both other players and the residents of the world. The MMO structure means you're sharing this world with a real community, other players who are also building their lives and leaving their mark on the same spaces. The beta playtest launched in April 2026 and got strong early feedback. There's a museum, a salvaging district, and a growing list of activities. Exact Switch release date hasn't been locked in yet, but it's been confirmed for consoles. Worth wishlisting now. Wylde Society comes from Studio Drydock, the team behind the beloved Wildflowers, and it takes a very different direction. Instead of a farming village, you're stepping into a turn-of-the-century period drama. You play as Vivian Wylde, witch, socialite, host. And your job is to build, manage, and customize a magical boarding house in the town of Fairhaven. You run events, brew potions, expand your witchcraft practice, and play the social game of a small town with a lot of secrets. Who gets invited to tea matters. The atmosphere is elegant and theatrical, and the witchy social strategy layer gives it a personality completely distinct from anything else in the genre. The team has described it as a period drama sim with magical teeth. More platform and release date details are still coming, but it's expected in 2026. Coffee Talk is back, and this time, the cafe moves to Tokyo. You're still brewing drinks and listening to people's problems, but now your customers include both humans and yokai, supernatural creatures from Japanese folklore, with their own worries and stories. The series formula stays intact. You read the room, mix the right drink, and let conversations unfold through your choices. The Tokyo setting brings a new visual palette and a completely new cast, and the blend of real-world urban life and folklore makes for a really interesting mix of stories. If you played the original Coffee Talk or Episode 2, you already know how good this series is at making you feel something just through a drink order and a conversation. Out May 21st, 2026 on Switch and Switch 2. Orbitals is a co-op-only, intergalactic puzzle adventure developed by Tokyo-based indie studio Shape Farm, and it's a Switch 2 exclusive. You and a partner play as Maki and Omura, two explorers who are better together than they ever are apart. The game uses asymmetric co-op. Each player has different tools and abilities, so you have to communicate and coordinate to solve puzzles and stop the cosmic storms threatening the galaxy. The art style is retro anime, done with clear love and deep knowledge of the aesthetic, and it's built in Unreal Engine 5, so it looks beautiful on Switch 2. You can play split screen locally, use Game Share to share the game with a nearby player who doesn't own it, or go online. The Switch 2's built-in mic works for in-game communication. Confirmed for summer 2026. Published by Kepler Interactive. Littlelands is a small world builder and life sim with a miniature fantasy vibe. You're cultivating a tiny settlement, managing the land, growing things, and building up a little community from the ground up. The emphasis is on the gentle pleasures of watching something small grow into something meaningful, with seasonal rhythms and a cast of characters who feel rooted in the world. It's the kind of game where the daily loop is satisfying on its own, tending crops, gathering materials, chatting with residents, without needing a dramatic hook to keep you coming back. The visual style leans into a tiny, detailed aesthetic that makes everything feel crafted with care. Specific release details and platforms are still being finalized, but it's part of 2026's indie cozy wave, worth following. Village in the Shade is a spooky farming sim from Nippon Ichi Software, the studio behind Disgaea, and it's published in the West by NIS America. You move to Kagatsu, a Japanese mountain village, and settle into a peaceful life of farming, fishing, decorating your home, and joining local festivals like cherry blossom viewing and summer celebrations. But this village comes with rules. Don't talk to strangers, don't leave, don't go out at night. NIS America confirms you can choose to investigate the truth behind those rules, but doing so might cost you something. The cozy surface and the creeping unease underneath make it feel distinct from most farming sims. It's not horror in a jump scare way, it's more like a town that clearly has secrets it's not ready to share with you yet. Limited edition, available for pre-order. Coming fall 2026, Moonlight Peaks puts you in the role of a young vampire who has had enough of living in their famous father's shadow, that father being Count Dracula. So you pack up your coffin and move to your family's old farm in the supernatural town of Moonlight Peaks, a place full of werewolves, witches, mermaids, and other creatures of the night. You rebuild the farm, grow magical crops, brew potions, cast spells, raise supernatural livestock, and build friendships or romances with over 24 characters. There's even a shape-shifting mechanic for exploration and a card game called Nocturna to play against residents. The game has a gothic, cozy look that's dark but still warm and colorful, and the whole premise of proving to your undead dad that compassion is possible is genuinely charming. Developed by Little Chicken Game Company, out July 7th, 2026. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. A talking encyclopedia named Mr. E falls from the sky onto Yoshi's island, and his pages are full of mysterious creatures nobody's ever seen before. So naturally, Yoshi dives in, literally, to explore the book's worlds and document everything he finds. The gameplay is classic Yoshi side-scrolling platforming, but the art style is completely its own thing. It looks like paper illustration, with painted textures and pencil line details that make every environment feel handcrafted. You eat creatures, jump on them, or carry them to reveal their characteristics, and each new discovery opens up more of the book to explore. It's part of Nintendo's Super Mario Bros. 40th anniversary celebration, and looks like a great showcase of what the Switch 2 can do visually for a 2D game. Out May 21st, 2026, exclusively on Switch 2. Trade Tales is a merchant and trading sim built around journeys rather than a fixed home base. You travel between towns, buy goods where they're cheap, sell them where they're needed, and slowly build up your business through smart decisions and an understanding of how the world's economy works. Along the way, the towns and the people in them have stories to tell, and your trading choices ripple out and affect the communities you pass through. It's the kind of game that rewards patience and observation over action, where the satisfaction comes from watching a trade route you built actually work. The world feels lived in, and the economic layer has enough depth to keep you thinking without ever becoming overwhelming. A cozy alternative for players who want a little more strategy layered into their calm gameplay loop. Expected 2026. InKonbini. One store, many stories. This one might be the most purely atmospheric game on the whole list. InKonbini puts you in the shoes of Makoto Hayakawa, a college student spending her summer working at her aunt's small convenience store called Honky Ponky in a 1990s Japanese town. You stock shelves, organize the store, and keep things running. But the real game is in the customers. Every person who walks through the door has a life, a routine, and a story. And your choices and conversation shape how those stories unfold. The game is built around the Japanese concept of ichigo ichi-e, the idea that every ordinary encounter has meaning. The rain outside, the soft lighting, the lo-fi atmosphere. It's genuinely one of the most calming games announced this year. 8 to 15 hours for the main story. Out April 30th, 2026. My Time at Evershine is the third game in the beloved My Time At series, following Portia and Sandrock, and it looks like the biggest one yet. You play as the governor of a small settlement in a post-apocalyptic world set 300 years after a civilization-ending event called the Day of Calamity. You gather resources, manage your town's growth, build relationships with residents, and take on jobs that help your community expand. The RPG and settlement building mechanics are deeper than previous entries. The art style has gotten more detailed, and for the first time, the co-op is properly developed. Up to 4 players can complete quests and build together. The series has always been great at making its worlds feel genuinely alive, and Evershine's European-inspired setting looks like a fresh backdrop for that. Developed by Pythia Games. Coming 2026. Solarpunk is a co-op survival crafting game for up to 4 players set on a series of floating islands where you build a sustainable life from the ground up. You start with almost nothing and work together to build shelter, find food, grow crops, explore new islands, and unlock increasingly advanced technology, all framed around a solarpunk philosophy of living in balance with nature. The game is made by Cyberwave, a 2-person studio, which makes the scope of what they're building genuinely impressive. The world is bright and hopeful, the co-op loop is designed to actually feel collaborative rather than just multiplayer optional, and the idea of building a sustainable solarpunk homestead across floating islands scratches a very specific itch that nothing else quite reaches. A playable demo is available on Steam right now. Release expected 2026. My Little Puppy is going to wreck you emotionally and then hug you back together. You play as Bong-gu, a senior dog who, after some very sad circumstances, finally finds his forever home. But when he wakes up in doggy heaven, he has to go on a quest to find his owner again. It's an emotional, tender, quietly beautiful game about love between a dog and their person, told from the dog's perspective. The Nintendo Switch version includes costume customization for Bong-gu, so you can at least dress him up while you're crying. Early reviews from players who've already experienced it have been overwhelmingly warm. It's a short game, but a deeply felt one, and in a year full of cozy games, this one stands out for how directly it goes for the heart. Out May 29th, 2026 on Switch. Fields of Mistria has been in early access on PC for a couple of years now, and has already built a massive fan base, hundreds of hours of content for players who got in early. The full release in 2026 is expected to bring the complete game, including everything that's been promised since launch. Set in the charming village of Mistria, it's a farming sim with a 90s shoujo anime art style that looks absolutely gorgeous. And its biggest strength is its characters. The group dynamics between residents feel genuinely real. Characters have relationships with each other that you can witness and participate in, which makes the village feel alive in a way most farming sims struggle to achieve. There's farming, mining, cooking, ranching, and crafting, all wrapped in a world that rewards exploration. Switch release confirmed for 2026. Tales of Seikyu is a fantasy farming sim set in the enchanting land of Seikyu, a world that serves as a sanctuary for legendary yokai and mythical beings. You farm, build relationships, and live out life in a town populated by creatures from Japanese folklore, including the fox-eared Lord Kyubi and the charismatic bar owner Shuten Doji. The setting gives everything a distinct personality that separates it from the typical pastoral farming sim. The lore runs deep, the characters are memorable, and the world has a mythology behind it that makes exploration feel genuinely rewarding. It already has a strong following from its PC early access time, and the console release in 2026 will bring it to a much wider audience. Confirmed for Switch. The Kickstarter crushed its goal in record time. That kind of community enthusiasm usually means something. Outbound is an open-world crafting and exploration game where you start with an empty camper van and build it into your dream mobile home. Up to 4 players can play together, scavenging materials, crafting upgrades, managing power systems, and exploring an ever-changing open world. The van expands in really creative ways. The roof, the sides, whole sections unfold into a proper living space. It's built around a solarpunk and ecotech philosophy, so your technology advances in harmony with nature rather than against it. The emphasis on customization and the freedom to just wander is its core loop, and the co-op systems are designed so players actually need each other rather than just being in the same world. A demo launched alongside the Indie World Showcase in March 2026. The full game hit Switch and Switch 2 on April 23, 2026. Animula Nook is one of the most visually original games in this whole list. You shrink down to tiny size and live inside everyday household objects. A coffee mug is a massive structure. A bookshelf is a city. A houseplant is a forest. You build a home, forge friendships with other miniature residents called minis, forage for petals and spider silk and mushrooms, grow crops in flower pots, and explore different corners of this giant from your perspective home. The game draws from macro photography aesthetics, so every environment has this rich, textured, real-world quality. You can play with other people and share your creativity online. The character customization reportedly unlocks over 500 outfit and furniture options. The closed alpha went live in March 2026, and the response has been strong. Developed by Littlelands Games, coming to Switch 2 in 2026, Moomintroll, Winter's Warmth. From the creators of Snufkin Melody of Moomin Valley comes the next Moomin game, and this one is darker and more personal. Moomintroll wakes up too early from hibernation and finds the valley completely transformed. His family is gone, his familiar world is covered in snow, and a being called the Lady of the Cold has taken over. Alone for the first time, he has to learn to be brave, forge new friendships, and help others who need him more than he realizes. It's a third-person, top-down puzzle adventure with environmental puzzles woven into a beautiful winter landscape. The mechanics have shifted to reflect the cold. Movement through snow is genuinely difficult, and you have to create paths. It takes about 7 hours to complete and is already available. $19.99 with a 15% launch discount. Out now on Switch. Witchbrook has been in development for nearly a decade at Chucklefish, and 2026 is finally the year. You enroll as a witch in training at Witchbrook College in the seaside city of Mossport, and you live the full school and town life that implies. Attending classes, learning spells, brewing potions, riding your broom around a three-dimensional city, fishing, growing magical crops, foraging, making friends, finding romance, and unraveling the school's secrets. The pixel art is stunning, genuinely some of the most detailed work in the genre, and the social simulation layer means every NPC has their own schedule, relationships, and personality. Up to 4 players can experience it together. The broom flight system alone, exploring in all directions, makes it unlike any farming sim released before it. No exact date yet, but Chucklefish has confirmed 2026. This is the most anticipated cozy game of the year. Starsand Island is the one. It's part Stardew Valley, part tropical explorer, and part living world full of people who feel genuinely real. You return to your childhood island and everything you remember is still there, except now it needs you. You farm, fish, raise animals, build friendships with islanders who each have deep story arcs, and sail between different islands using a system where each island has its own microclimate, seasonal crops, and unique residents. So you're not just building one farm, you're building a network across an archipelago. You can explore by rollerblades, hoverboard, or motorbike, and the DIY home building system lets you design your space down to the smallest detail. The art is painterly watercolor with gorgeous day-night lighting. Multiplayer drops alongside the full launch. Switch 2 release is confirmed for summer 2026. 2026 is honestly stacked for cozy games on both Switch and Switch 2, and this is just the confirmed or announced stuff. There'll be more by the time the year's out. Drop a comment with which game you're most excited for, and if there's a game I didn't cover that deserves a spot, let me know. Thanks for watching.